Today the sun is shining in the mountains of Morn, and we are going to tour the streets of Karavamat, or Karava as it's commonly called. This is the capital city of the Maraki'ani, one of the three main factions in my fantasy world-building project, Heroes of the Ravaged Gardens. We start our tour in an industrial district on the outskirts of the metropole. Here we find one of the many Maraki'an breweries and its occupants. They make a bitter ale flavored with lichen growing in the mountains, but also more palatable drinks flavored with hops or fruits. Most everyone working here are descended from or married into the line of the Brewer, one of the original 8 scions, the first children of the Prophet Mother. These saint-like figures hold highly important places in Maraki culture, with you being able to trace your family to them, partially deciding your status and possible career paths. The Brewer is the second of the scions, after the one called the heir or interpreter, and he is the main patron scion of not only brewers but many other professions, like gardeners, farmers, cooks, innkeepers and more. When it comes to ways of displaying their pride in their bloodline, they are fond of the number 2 for the second scion, as well as of speckled lizards, an animal connected to the Brewer because of its appetite of the same lichen they use in the ale. Outside the brewery, we find a group of hunters. They have come from a larger hunting party to pick up a barrel of beer for an upcoming excursion. I'm really pretty happy with these designs. I based their clothes on the Karakain mountain ranger from another video, but with a color inspired by a Viking Age good old pattern tunic. I tried to give some thought to how things I draw would be constructed in real life, and this vest thing, for example, would have a pattern looking something like this, and could be cut in only 2 pieces from a narrow piece of fabric, which is cool. Hunters and rangers both are often descended from and under the patronage of the third scion, the archer. The animal symbolically connected to archer descendants is the mountain tiger. This hunting party will be on the lookout for large lizards, bears, goats and wild horses. Leaving the brewery, we pass by one of the large domed greenhouses. Here we run into a gardener, another brewer descendant, on her way back from getting lunch. In the magnificent greenhouses, the Maraki grow all manners of fruits, vegetables and tobacco. Plants imported to the mountains from the Emnic kingdoms. Most of it feeds the city's inhabitants, but some is traded with the inhabitants of the plains in the many towns and villages under Maraki control. That's where most of their food is grown, in the form of rice, wheat, barley and the like. Continuing up towards the center of Karava, we start to hear a beautiful melody. A pair of musicians have set up shop outside of a fancy gaming parlor. They are from the family of the fourth scion, the harpist. The harpist is of course the patron of musicians, but also of most other professions that create or express any sort of artistic visions, such as artisanal blacksmiths, carpenters, stonemasons, poets, painters, architects, actors, acrobats and many others. In this case we do meet actual musicians, although none of them play the harp. I based their instruments on the Ranat Ek, a Taiwanese type of xylophone, and the Sampogna, an Italian bagpipe. It's very common for Maraki'an couples to perform art and creative work in pairs, as a connection to their bitheistic faith. Moving away from that performance, we soon stumble upon the street vendor, seemingly responsible for feeding that gardener from earlier. For a single jar of copper, we get our choice of a skewered lizard or a bowl of stew. What a deal! This guy is also under the patronage of the brewer, although not in a straight descending line. He He may be paying tribute to a grandson of the brewer, one of the hundreds of lesser scions, like the taverner or the butcher or someone else. You might think the Maraki'ans seem absolutely obsessed with family lineage, and you'd be correct. Direct descendants of the scions hold all of the highest offices in the respective fields. And it seems like a prime example of that is approaching us right now. Riding down the street is the highest authority from the 7th scion, the warrior's line. The protector of the 8 gates, Castellan of the Iron Fort, the Reaper, the Billhook, Telkilia of Alkilia, aka Telkilia of the House of the Warrior. The mountains towards the Emni Kingdoms form a natural border between them and the Maraki lands, but in addition the various routes and mountain passes are guarded by 8 gates with accompanying fortresses. This general is tasked with protecting the Maraki lands, and she usually commands her forces from the biggest fortress by the strongest gate, the Iron Gate. It seems we were lucky that she had business in Karava today, and we got to see her. Be sure to kowtow and show respect, or we'll wish we did. From the heights of social status to the heights of latitude. All over the city, in towers and steeples, the Birdkeepers are hard at work. Just as the Karakine use their hardy vultures for sending reports across long distances, the urban Birdkeepers use smaller birds to carry messages across the city. They perform an important task, but as their family is considered a lesser branch under the Herald, the 6th scion, they are not held in high regard. The Herald's symbolic animal is the crane, and the Birdkeeper's symbolic animal is the magpie. That marks the end of today's tour of the city, or at least its people. One day, when I've learned to draw buildings and landscapes, I hope we can have a look at those things as well. I originally planned to have 3 characters in this video, but they didn't turn out very interesting, and when I went on to draw a few more I got a bit carried away. I think the later ones ended up much better, with more character, and they were fun to draw. Let me know if you have a favorite. Mine is the Food Peddler. Next up is either making a Maraki'an dagger to go with the Mordhammer sword, or a similar video to this one, featuring some Emnik dudes. Or something else, we'll see. Until then, take care. Bye!